headlines from an African perspective.
Well, from news headlines to headlining of shows, we talk about the city of Durban in South Africa about to satellite with music, culture and innovation at the music Imbizo. And of course, Imbizo is the South African word which means gathering, if you haven't heard it before. So for this year, it takes place at the International Convention Centre from the 26th to the 30th of August, so meaning it's already underway, with the theme "At the Root of Innovation is Culture, Creativity and the Power of IP." So this year promises a festival of ideas, so to speak, performances, conversations shaping Africa's creative economy. To speak to me now about it, to get the inside scoop, South African artist, filmmaker and participant at the Imbizo, Lex LaFoy. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Greetings, good evening to your Channel Africa listeners. And excited to speak about the Imbizo.
So tell us about what you do first. Introduce us to yourself, your work, and how your participation at this Imbizo is important not only for you, but for festival goers as well.
Thank you so much. So my name is Lex LaFoy. I am a rapper, writer, creative project manager. I am a BASA, that's Business and Arts South Africa Cultural Producers Program graduate of 2022. I'm a filmmaker, events producer, and I am also doing my honors in health and community psychology. So I really operate where the wellness, the creative, and the corporate intersect. That's me. Mm-hmm. And I am participating tomorrow at the Imbizo at 1 p.m. I will be part of an urban culture panel discussion alongside other professionals in the industry. And at 3:20 tomorrow, my documentary titled The Lexicon 2.0 Project mini documentary will be screened as part of the Imbizo Film Festival taking place within the wider Imbizo.
So give us a bit of an appetizer about your documentary. What's it about? What was the intention behind it?
Absolutely. So the Lexicon 2.0 project is an album that I released last year, which held music that was over 10 years old. And unfortunately, at the time when I recorded the project, a body of work that was worked on between 2012 and 2013, as an independent artist signed to a then small independent label, myself and the label had some contractual issues and I was not able to release the music at the time. So the story is really about reclaiming one's work. It's a story of victory. As we know, we've heard of many, especially females in the music industry, but of course it's widespread across gender. We've heard of multiple stories of artists who have lost their work, due to contractual issues. So for me, this is really a story of success. It's a story of coming full circle. It's a story of reclaiming one's work and telling the story, living to say, this is a part of me that exists in time, and this has contributed to who I am today. Yeah.
It's very sad that a lot of the time consumers of artists' works, I mean, it's great for you that they enjoy your work, that they're exposed to it, but they're very ignorant to, and not by choice, the struggles that you have, especially when it comes to intellectual property. Just give us a sense of what you have to go through to have your work published. I mean, I have musician friends and, they say, no, I've got to own my masters. And just to see what they go through to make sure that they own their work. It's somewhat silly to even think that people have to go through so much.
Absolutely. The music industry is a giant. It is a jungle, and truly, it tests one's character. It tests one's abilities, not only creatively but cognitively, because there's so much that creative IP entails. So just to let the listener know who doesn't know the process of the song making and the business side of music making in general, is that I, as an artist, will write a song, because I'm also a lyricist and a songwriter. There are also others who are only vocalists and who employ songwriters or lyricists for them. Within my story, I write my own music. I go into a studio, I record that music, and here's where the tricky part lies. So as an independent artist, taking it gradually but more thoroughly, I pay for those sessions. So I will pay a music engineer. I will pay for that studio time. I will pay for that beat, to own that beat, so that I can leave that session with those masters, having paid for that session, owning that intellectual property. I will then ensure that that music is mixed and mastered, making it broadcast ready. Once that is ready, I will then have to do all the paperwork for that song. So I will register it with SAMRO. I will register it with RISA. I will register, if there's a music video, with RAV. I will register it with Capasso. And so and also the paperwork between the artist and the producer, and if there are other collaborators on the song, I will create and sign what is called a writer's share agreement, which states on paper that myself and the other composers or the other authors on the song are all rightful legal shareholders to that song. So in an instance where there is commercial exploitation, so if a song is used in an advert, if it's used in a film, that would ensure that everybody who owns the song intellectually, be it through composing a beat or through authorship, which is songwriting, that would ensure that those owners of the intellectual property receive monies that are due to them. So that is a writer's share agreement. Then you have I'm
getting exhausted just listening to you. By the way.
Then the last bit to close on this topic is you then have an artist-producer agreement, which basically says between yourself and the beat maker, if you are not the beat maker, hey, I paid you this amount of money, I now own the beat, however we will, going forward, always earn royalties, shared royalties. So there's a lot behind a song. And then, of course, one has to promote, create press releases, send it to radio so that amazing channels like Channel Africa can play our music. It's endless. I won't lie. I pay. I pay.
And tell me something, then the advent of artificial intelligence, it either aids or impedes, but we've seen people being ripped off, but we've also seen it create its own music, its own artists. How does that impact you as artists? Is it good? Is it bad? What are the blind spots that exist in your being able to have agency over your work? What happens to it beyond the ownership aspect of it?
That is an extremely relevant topic to tackle in 2025. Last year, within the Music Imbizo program, there was actually a panel discussion. I was invited to the panel discussion. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. However, I did recommend two amazing people in my place, and I'll tell you who these people are and why they're relevant to your question. So there was an advert that we created last year for Samsung in promotion of the South African Olympics team. This song was created in collaboration with AI and human artists. So I was on the song, Questa was on the song, the Soweto Youth Choir was on the song, Jeremy Loops was on the song. So what the agency behind the campaign, which is two amazing people. The agency is called Monkey Donkey Agency, and they are specialists in AI. So what the agency sets out to show is how AI and humans can work together. As we know, there's a lot of fear mongering online. People saying AI is stealing our jobs, it's stealing the
Yes.
work of artists, it's stealing creatives' work. But let's remember, I mean, for example, my mom is a lawyer, and we were having this discussion. AI will always need human intelligence, human moral, human common sense, human understanding to guide it. It will always need that because remember, we're dealing with machines. And so they can only work within the parameters that are set out before them. So to answer your question, it's a wonderful time to work with AI. I do not believe AI will take over. I believe that we can work hand in hand. And if people attend, networking sessions, Imbizos, conferences like the Music Imbizo, I'd urge them to find out more, to research, to do their own reading, to find out how AI and humans can work together, because the truth is there's a lot of collaboration to be done. AI is a tool. It can be used to assist us, but it cannot replace the human mind. Let me say that.
Lex, you live in a very interesting time. As in your generation, you are a musician, you're a filmmaker, and that is something generations ago would not have been considered as a job, as an income earner, or even being part of an income stream. The state of the creative economy, is there greater awareness? And is it more structured that you can avoid some of the exploitation that unfortunately is embedded in the entertainment industry? A lot of the time, the people who see you, who watch you, they think, oh, it's because, you are on TV, they see you online, you make a lot of money, you're raking it in. But there is a lot of exploitation that takes place.
Especially in Women's Month, if I can say, especially for women. Let me say this. As an independent artist, as a creative, it is our responsibility to educate ourselves, to read, to find out what every part of the music, entertainment, and media industry entails. Because if we don't have that information, we become vulnerable for abuse, we become vulnerable for exploitation. And so, like many before me, I have also been exploited. I have also had to learn the hard way, and be moved into a space of empowerment, to be moved into a space of learning and doing for oneself. So yes, there definitely is a lot of room for exploitation. And in an era where mental health is a huge challenge for creatives and artists especially, let me say this. When you as a creative or you as an artist choose to work with a manager, an agency, or a label, oftentimes artists are merely seen as assets to generate income. And so I urge artists to also have a strong team behind them, strong family structure, strong support structure behind them. Have someone you can consult with legally, have someone you can consult with that you trust, because the truth is, it is a dog eat dog industry. It is an industry where if you do not know any better, chances are you will fall prey to exploitation. And so, yes, speaking about gender, once again, in Women's Month, it especially happens with young women. In the industry, we see, as much as there's a rise of gender equality, we see a lot of men still predominantly owning labels, owning studios, owning masters, owning career paths, wanting to have the final say. And so, especially in Women's Month, I urge female creatives, female artists to empower themselves, make your own money, even if you're not making all your money through your music itself. I earn income through various, I do events, I do film, I do music, I'm speaking in panels, so I would urge artists, do not rely on your music alone to create an income. It's extremely volatile. I mean, even the best of the best, we see them doing brand endorsements. We see them now overlapping into the lane of influencers. We see artists now in film as well. As a creative, one really has to research, do the self work, gain self knowledge, discover what all your strengths are, and learn to make those viable forms of income. We cannot rely on our music and our music alone. I mean, if we look at the way that streaming income is designed, artists, we're earning something like 0.0001 cents per stream. So we're forced to look elsewhere. We're forced to look at live performances. We're forced to look at sync deals, at licensing deals. And so that would be my message to artists is, yeah.
Thank you. I see I got you. I got you going there. And I appreciate it. Lex, thank you so much. And all the best for tomorrow. A great note to end it on, just to say, one's got to diversify their work portfolio, so to speak, because in these hard times, you can't just rely on one income stream. Lex LaFoy, what a true pleasure, inspiring. South African artist, filmmaker, and she will be participating at this Imbizo, the music Imbizo, taking place in Durban. And while we're still feeling nice, and she spoke about Women's Month, Shayla, it is tapering off tomorrow, effectively, because the 30th is the last day.
Yeah.